So we're going to begin reclining all the way back. Yay. Just lay ourselves onto the floor for maximum supportedness, maximum strong foundation, grounded down, and plant the whole self down onto our surface. Sense the surface beneath, the hardness or softness and supportedness of that surface. And then we'll get the energy flowing a little bit using the heels of the feet as our fulcrum. You can bend the knees, sometimes that helps get that motion going. And then rippling the energy and the even just the fluid nature of our body. Move those liquid up and down like a wave. And bring our awareness to any places that aren't moving so freely, that might be feeling a little bit stuck. Just take good care of them. And this, of course, is also warming up the hamstrings and the glutes and getting the back of the body sort of warmed up too. And then we'll slowly bring that rocking motion to stillness and still sense the flow of the energy and everything moving around the body. And then we'll start with some of the large muscle groups. So sending the left leg long along the floor as a strong foundation. We'll draw the right knee up towards the chest, folding in the hip joint, folding in the knee joint. And at first, just placing the hands around the shin and gently hugging that towards the body. And bring our attention to the shoulders on the floor, the pelvis on the floor, everything solidly rooting down. And we'll bring in that element of rotation to the right hip. So circling the knee, the thigh, the femur in the hip joints. Little circles or big circles. Figure eights, just looping it around. A little internal massage. Just becoming aware of the motion and this beautiful, strong ball and socket joints. And establishing connection with all the supportive muscles around it, and the inner thigh, the outer thigh, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the psoas muscle, connecting it into our back and ribs. I could just lay here and massage my hip joint for most of the day, but let's go ahead and unfold and give ourselves a gentle stretch of the back of the leg, reaching around that leg, and just sort of passively allowing gravity to start opening up the back of the leg while we move the rotational element into the foot. So the foot and the ankle joints circling one way, and then the other way. At the beginning of my children's ballet classes, we do the ABCs with our foot, and I make them sing too. But they're always like, oh, is smaller letters okay? Even in German, they're asking me, is smaller okay? I'm like, of course, it's okay. We do the best we can, but when it comes to strengthening and stabilizing the ankle, might want to make them as big as possible eventually. So anyway, massaging that foot will release that effort. And then we'll do a little internal rotation, crossing the middle line and sort of reaching that big toe inward, really turning the leg in. We'll slightly cross the center line. So the stretch moves maybe to the outer thigh and hip. And enjoy some internal rotation with the right leg. And then switching hands, we'll move the right leg into the right hand. Not super externally rotated, but slightly the knee will come open to the side, and grounding down the left side, the right leg will open up a bit to the right side. And then floating back to the center line. With our inhale, let's bring that knee to a bend and then slide it along the floor. And switch out the right leg, reaching nice and long, left leg folding in and rotating in and out and circling the left femur in the hip socket. One way, other way, figure 8, spirals. You can take that spiral imagery from last week, growing our spiral or shrinking it. Connecting it with our breathing, trying to become more aware of the flow of the breath. And then as we're ready, gently unfurling that leg above us and reach behind. And allow gravity to draw it a little more near while the foot rotates in the ankle joint. And taking that left ankle in the right hand, turning the leg gently in so that it falls across the body, slightly on this long diagonal from the left hip rooted in the ground to the left foot reaching across and into the sky. The sun is hitting my toes on this stretch. Speaking of golden light, and with the next inhale, floating that leg, returning it to center with the hand, and we'll switch the hands and just softly externally rotate in the hip from our right side rooted into the floor, the left side zooms open a little bit to the side. Nothing dramatic. Just exploring range of motion. We're not testing it out yet. And then we'll float that guy back to the center and softly lower the left leg down to the floor and stretch the whole body long again. Then we're going to slowly make our way to seated through the side. So first I'm going to roll onto one side and then the other. Don't come up yet. We'll just bend our legs and roll onto the side using one arm as a cushion underneath our head. Or you can prop it up with your hand if that feels better. Not important. Whatever feels good on your neck. We'll try to create a nice long line from head through the shoulders, through the hips, laying on our side. And then we'll just reach an arm into the sky. This is not really, a lot of things get integrated into yoga, and this is one. This is actually a movement I learned from Betsy Fisher, but it feels so good on the shoulders. And since today is a rotation theme, we're going to keep that arm reaching straight up towards the ceiling and just internally and externally rotate that arm now, kind of like we did with the hips, in the shoulder socket. Nothing forceful, just exploring the whole arm rotating in and the whole arm rotating out, sort of twisting with the hand. This is something you can go slowly with, or a little more quickly, sort of shaking it out. And then we'll take tiny, tiny, tiny little circles with the hand. It's cool to have the arm reaching straight up and falling into the shoulder socket. That's the idea, is that it's really supported. It's almost supported by gravity. We're not having to effort to hold the arm up into the air too much. It's just falling straight down into the socket. And then from that fall, we're tracing little teeny circles with the hand in the sky. And it might feel like actually nothing is happening. But we'll see. We'll get to experience the results, if any, a little bit later. Or delayed satisfaction, delayed results, maybe. So we're growing the circle a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. It doesn't get super large, but we can play with making it a little bit bigger around the edges, maybe from a saucer to a dinner plate size. Sort of integrating all the muscles of the shoulder girdle together. And then we'll reverse the circle, starting slightly larger and then looping in smaller and smaller and smaller. You can even do this when you've got a moment for a couple of minutes on each side, if you like it. For now, we'll just bring it into our smallest circle on this side, and then release that arm softly down and roll onto the other side, and we'll also do that side. I'm going to flip around so I can still see over the direction that you are. And so I'm rolling or laying onto my other side, creating a nice, long, easy spine. Trying to find a place where there's really no tension in the body. Head is resting, legs are resting, and the other arm now will reach up towards the sky. Let it fall. Because I want to put so much work into that. Let it fall into the shoulder joint. So the shoulder blades just resting down on the back. The arm, I guess, is resting actually down into that scapula and also the, oh no, I can think of the German word. It's not clavicle. Yeah, down into the middle of your chest, actually. So in a way, that this action is starting right in the center of the body as we make these tiny little rotations, massaging and integrating these little shoulder muscles. Don't take the time often enough to care for the arm in this way, but I notice the shoulders hurt so much right now from the stress of just collective anxiety. While we're here, just massaging our arm gently, you can reverse the direction gently in the socket. Actually, it's interesting, the German word for the clavicle, it's Schlüsselbein, which is your key bone. It's like the key to your entire arm, right? If you break your clavicle, your whole arm is unable to move. I've never done that, thankfully, but I've seen it. And yeah, so it's really key to the operation of our whole arm, the way it's connected in the front, into our chest. Ah, yes. Do my little internal and external rotations on the side, so that's fun. We'll do them seated too. So once you bring your small circles to a close on this side, we'll just walk the hands gently up to bring ourselves to seated. And hello, we are sitting, and there is some construction here that I hope Zoom is minimizing for you all. So finding the weight, grounding down through the sit bones onto the surface below us with crossed legs, or if you want to put a cushion or a block underneath, that is all good. First, we'll take the shoulders. Now, the whole meat of the shoulders, the deltoids and the chest and everything, gently taking action, activating to rotate the shoulders forward, opening up through the back, opening up through the armpit, back, opening up through the chest, and trying to allow those shoulder blades to just fall down the back. And once they are falling nice and loose, we can shimmy, shimmy, shake to nudge them down. And that way we have a nice, long, easy neck, and we'll draw some circles with the nose. Kind of treating it as the same sort of exploration, just super easy. Much more about becoming aware of each tiny muscle's connection and how they work together, than forcing any particular shape or form from the external perspective. One more rotation of the head right up on top of the spine in this direction, and then of course making that same exploration on the other side. Oh, I love this so much. One more rotation in this direction, or however many you like, really, but it's a big suggestion is to bring the head right back on top of the spine and find that beautiful, beautiful vertical sensation. So here we are in that same shape, imagining those balls of light sort of stacking on top of one another, creating this beautiful flow of energy throughout our whole body. And let's take an inhale and bring the arms softly, gently over the head with that inhale. And with exhale, let them softly come down. So now we feel the shoulder blades moving on the back and the clavicles in the front. Along with the arm motion, we can bring everything up. And everything back down. This is a really nice exercise for becoming aware of the breath in the body at any time in our day. And it kind of naturally flows when we bring the arms with it. For some reason, this time as we exhale, let's twist the right hand over the left knee, just softly rotating along the length of the spine. And then inhale to come up. And little twist, left hand to right knee, gazing maybe over that right shoulder softly, and inhale to return. This time we'll reach the right hand down and across, slicing past that knee and coming up. And then left hand slicing, sort of stabbing down and across. Inhaling. Then we'll reach the hand up and across. So long through the spine, reaching way up and overhead. And inhale, left arm reaching up and across. Just changes our spiraling sensation a little bit. And then inhale back to center. We are in business.